सबटाइटल वगैरह भी आपको बहुत सारे यहाँ पे ऑप्शन मिल जाएंगे। कस्टमर आपको मेन जो चीज़ है वो है सब्सक्राइबर ओनली मोड। यहाँ पे आप सब्सक्राइबर ओनली मोड भी यहाँ से आप लगा सकते हैं कस्टमाइजेशन में। और अगर आपको चैट चाहिए तो चैट भी यहाँ पे आप लगा सकते हैं, लाइव चैट रिप्लाई और डिले भी आप यहाँ पे डाल सकते हैं, स्लो मोड भी डाल सकते हैं। ये सारे आपको मिल जाएंगे। तो यहाँ से हम बैक आ जाते हैं। तो वीडियो अगर आपको अच्छी लगी हो, आपकी हेल्प हुई हो तो प्लीज़ वीडियो को लाइक कर दीजिए और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लें, क्योंकि हम ऐसी वीडियोस लाते रहते हैं। हम मतलब डेली बेसिस पे तो नहीं, कभी जो भी आपकी मतलब हेल्पफुल वीडियो तो लाते रहते हैं हम। और हमारी स्ट्रीम भी होती रहती है रोब्लॉक्स की, मस्त मस्त फनी वनी बातें करते हैं हमारे, ज्वाइन हो जाएं। बहुत सारे बंदे आते हैं हमारे और मज़े की भाई मज़े की स्ट्रीम करते हैं। तो बस आज के लिए इतना ही, मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में ऐसी मज़ेदार। तब तक के लिए इजाज़त दे दें, बाय बाय।
Hello everybody, welcome to this event by Pragmatic Works. This is going to be our class on data modeling. So welcome to another event. In this event, we're going to be taking a look specifically at data modeling for Power BI, but it's important to point out that the data modeling that we're talking about here has been around for many, many years, and really it is agnostic to the technology, meaning that when you're building out a data model for reporting purposes, it does work across different technologies. I was actually spending my week this week, 3 days with a company where we were building out a data model for them, for their enterprise, teaching them about this concept and then how to load those tables using SSIS. So completely different technology, but that's what we were doing this week. So hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm watching the chat just to make sure. I see people from literally all over the world joining us today, so welcome everybody. It's exciting to have you guys here. So let's jump right in and just do a real quick introduction to myself. I am a consultant and trainer here at Pragmatic Works. I've been with Pragmatic Works for 10 years. I spent the beginning of that actually doing consulting, specifically building out data warehouses, building out dimensional models for customers and helping them load that data for reporting purposes into their systems. The last 4 or 5 years I've been doing specifically training, helping companies learn how to do these things, how to implement their data model, how to work with Power BI and Azure. And if you've followed us for any length of time, you know that. I've had an opportunity to author a few different books over the years. I blog at mitchellpearson.com, not as much as I do YouTube, of course. YouTube is a little bit easier. Work with Power BI and Azure, and if you've followed us for any length of time, you know that. I've had an opportunity to author a few different books over the years. I blog at mitchellpearson.com, not as much as I do YouTube, of course. YouTube is a little bit easier.
The Attorney General that two constitutional practice is one thing. We are now looking at just the text of the provision. There are two possible constructions of clause D. Constitutional practice may seem to support what Mr. Sybil is saying. This is one thing. One is looking at just the text of the provision. That D refers to the fact that other provisions of the Constitution may apply such what Mr. Sibyl is saying, other than 1 and 2. One is such is the text of the provision. That D refers to the fact that other provisions of the Constitution may apply. In other words, if you are making exceptions or modifications, that's one construction. That is, the president is making exceptions or modifications, bodily lifting it and making it applicable without exception or modification. That's the second construction of D.
That's correct.
Now, the question is really which is a more plausible construction? Making it applicable without exception or modification.
Actually,
That's the second construction of D.
1950 order
Now,
itself,
the question is,
give an indication of what was meant. And just not leave 54.
That's why, Mr. Sibyl, the Chief Justice said constitutional practice does support this view, but there are two plausible constructions which can be made. One is that the entire Constitution has been adopted in terms of Clause D. If you require modification or changes in that part, then you require a presidential order which shall be issued in consultation, not in consultation, with concurrence of the state.
I appreciate that, but that will render 3 OCOs completely. C will become OCOs. Because
C is
the provisions of the Constitution.
The C is something different. C dilutes the article itself.
C, mothers, I am not on anything else. When you see other provisions of the Constitution, except for 1 and the 370, you can't touch 370, but let's move forward, mothers, I'll be able to show that to your lords.
P is 370 and C is Article 1.
And 1 is mothers integration. So that can't be touched. Part of India can't be touched. 370 can't be touched. All other things can be touched.
It doesn't say, C doesn't say it cannot be touched.
Interpretation.
C doesn't say 370 cannot be touched. In fact, clause 3 makes it very clear.